Welcome back to Miami Realty Rundown. I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ideal.
So today we're going to talk to you a little bit about, I see them a lot. So there are TV commercials. You'll see them on your Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media you use, TikTok, where you have wholesalers, right? Talking about selling property, how easy it is and whatnot. And then, so we're going to compare that to our industry, the realtor side, So we're kind of going to give you a little rundown of the differences so that you can get more familiar with what side does what and how it benefits you. Because you might be looking to sell your property, and I'm sure you've been contacted by a wholesaler. I know I get the calls. That one call, oh, you're looking to sell...
Or mailers.
Blah, 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 blah address, right? And I'm like, well, sure. How much are you offering? And they give you some really
Low price.
Off-the-wall price when, my house has, the roof is recently done, the windows are done,
Upgrades.
Kitchens are upgraded, bathrooms, so on and so forth. And they want to, their offers are like $200,000 less than I think it's worth. So I'm like, no, thank you. So I'm sure you've gotten those calls. So just to kind of break down the differences. And
side note, we tried to do wholesaling before, so we can give you some perspective on our experiences
we've
too.
tried it as well. But it's not for everybody.
No.
I don't think it is. No. To me, realtors follow laws, contracts, code of ethics. Wholesalers, they just follow YouTube gurus. That's all, But anyway, so wholesalers basically, right, will work with sellers only.
Right.
Okay. They don't really work with the buyer in a transaction, at least not in the same capacity as a realtor does. What they do is they assign the contract that they got from that seller, and then they find an investor to assign it to. So they're flipping paper. That's what they call it. They do a lot of marketing, a lot of networking, and they do have to have knowledge of the market, because obviously you can't buy something that you don't know how much it's going to sell for in the future.
Right.
And again, they only handle the sales side. So how do they come up with these numbers? So they'll grab the market value of your property and they'll discount it. And by market value, I mean after if it needs repairs, if it needs a new roof, if it needs windows, whatever it is, to bring it to the top dollar. And then from there, they'll discount whatever needs plus whatever they want to make on that property. So it's usually at least 35%.
Which is a lot.
Now you compare that to what we do. And we will honestly give you a fair value for the property that it can be sold. If it needs all those things, we'll have to discount it because nobody's going to buy it at top dollar.
And they're going to ask for credit anyway.
Correct, right? So because if you need to put on a roof, you need to put windows.
Those are things a buyer has to put in when they purchase a home. So they want some sort of discount, which is
what the wholesaler is doing off the bat.
Right.
The only thing is, in my opinion, wholesalers, from what I've known, and I don't know if it's your experience, their assignment fee, which is the money that they make, is about $10,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
Otherwise, it's not really worth it to them. So you talk about the discount of at least 35%, and on top of that, $10,000 to $20,000. Now they typically don't pay closing costs, because when they assign the contract, that person that's buying it, or that entity, that investor, is paying for all the closing costs. So that way they can give the seller the exact number that they're offering or the offers for, and they don't come out of pocket either.
And let's also add that the seller doesn't know who's buying the home.
Correct. And a lot of times, you won't know who the buyer is. In some states, you do double closings,
Right.
where you have one closing for the seller and a separate closing for the investor and the wholesaler. And you never know what that difference is.
Yep.
Could be 10, could be 50,000. I mean,
They'll never find out.
You'll never know. I think here in Florida, you kind of, for the most part, I bought one investment property from a wholesaler. I knew exactly what they bought for it, what they paid for it. I knew what their gain was. So we kind of did a simultaneous closing, so I saw everything. But might not be the case for everybody.
Yeah. Let's also talk about that wholesalers don't have to be licensed to do this transaction.
Right.
They don't need a real estate license.
They don't really need one. They might more than likely have one.
Right. Because it benefits them. They'll collect commission, but they don't need to have one.
Right.
No.
And they do work with realtors. It's not like they don't work with realtors, because obviously we have buyers that are investors as well.
Right.
So we can work with them. Now, these properties you can only buy cash or hard money. There's no financing.
No.
Usually inspections, none. And if you do, you have to do it before you make an offer.
Right.
There's no inspections like when we typically do transactions or your traditional transaction, you get 7-10 days to do it after you made the offer. And some buyers use that to their advantage to renegotiate, which you shouldn't. But some do.
There's no appraisal?
No appraisal. Well, it's cash, hard money.
Yeah, exactly. So there's none.
The hard money lender will appraise, but it doesn't really matter. Typically, they just want to make sure that the after repair value or the ARV is there so that the deal makes sense to the lender.
They have enough.
Right. But other than that, it doesn't matter. They're quick closings. They could be probably 2 weeks, 3 tops. But so it's a quicker transaction on the seller side than a traditional one.
Usually it's 30 to 45 days.
Right.
So if a seller is in distress, they want to sell this home as quickly as possible. So maybe even though with all those discounts and the percentage that they remove from what the home is worth, to someone who is in a situation where they just need to sell, may be worth it. But you're not getting top dollar for your home, but you are closing a lot faster.
Right, but let's compare that to us, right?
Yeah.
So let's say it's 100,000, just to make numbers easy. So we typically, we can't talk about that anymore. Anyway, we have a certain compensation, a certain percentage that we agree with the seller. So let's just say 6,000 is our compensation, just for numbers' sake. When you compare that to a wholesaler, they're knocking off 10, maybe 15,000. Could be less, but typically I don't think they do it for less than 10.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't make sense. So now you compare 6 to 10.
You're saving $4,000.
You're saving. But then you also got to consider that, we can also negotiate into the deal that the buyer pays your closing costs. So you still stay with the same amount. Everything's negotiable in real estate.
Right.
So you have to decide whether working with a wholesaler or working with a realtor is better.
Right.
We also work with investors. We have a list of cash buyers that could probably buy your property just as quickly. And you don't have to take that big hit.
Right.
So now, just to reiterate what we do. Right, so we work with both sides. We work with buyers, we work with sellers. We do list properties on the MLS. Wholesalers will not typically list properties on the MLS. Some do if they're licensed, just to get a different market. But most of the time it's off market. Nobody knows it's being sold. It's being advertised to other investors, other realtors that have investor clients. And that's how they typically sell those properties.
And it's because they have their contacts already.
Yes.
So there's a lot. Wholesalers network a lot, and they have a lot of contacts. So they don't need to necessarily put it on the MLS. But it doesn't help because now your property isn't exposed to the 6,000 websites that when we post it on the MLS.
Correct.
It's not exposed. How many? I forgot. It was like millions of other people that can see it. So you're kind of shrinking your chances, right?
Correct.
But
So typically, let's say you have a property that you want to sell, and you're talking to a wholesaler. More than likely, before that wholesaler speaks with you or gives you a phone call, they already have
Someone lined
a
up?
list of buyers could possibly be interested in that property.
If not, they already have the buyer.
Right. And then, so once they're done with you, they're going to call this list of people, and they're more than likely going to do a transaction with one of them. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes they can't, because either you want too much. There was actually one that I was looking at for myself, and I was dealing with a wholesaler. Actually, one that I've known for a while now, and that actually bought a property that I was selling as an agent. That's how we met, and it was just too overpriced, and they ended up just removing it altogether because the owner wanted too much, and the numbers just didn't hash out, not for anybody apparently. So they ended up losing that. But so we do our own marketing. We do, we negotiate our own deals, and we help, again, sellers and buyers navigate through the whole process. Wholesalers typically will not. They just handle their side. And by the way, their contracts are fairly one-sided.
Yeah, they protect themselves more.
Correct.
Obviously, they have to.
They have to. Otherwise, they can't do what they do.
Right.
If they have to abide by all, our contracts are 20 pages long.
18.
Yeah. So there's not that much leeway for on the buyer side. There's no outs. There's very little outs when you're dealing with that kind of property. And as we said before, they're quick. So you can't have too many loopholes to cancel a contract.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in it, which requires a lot of homework from the buyer side. The investors, they do a lot of homework before they actually invest in that property, because they got to make sure that there's enough room for them to make money on when they turn around and sell it. So, I mean, it's up to you guys. You guys can make the decision whether to work with a wholesaler if you're in usually distressed properties, if you're going through foreclosure, if you have a lot of repairs that you can't afford. I know a lot of people, like after hurricanes, they get property damage, and either the insurance company doesn't want to cover it,
Or they can't afford
or
to.
they can't afford to. Those are the types of clients. The ugly home in the neighborhood, that's, or probate. A lot of them are probate.
Yep.
The homeowner passed away. Now the heirs don't want to deal with it because they can't afford to, or they're just not interested.
Or they don't have the time.
Or they live out of state, So those are the kinds of clients that wholesalers seek. That doesn't mean that we don't seek them too, because we do, but
It's their niche. Wholesalers' niches.
that's their niche, right? So this is a little informative for you. I'm sure you get those phone calls. I still get those phone calls, even though my house luckily is not distressed.
Amen.
Amen. But they do call everyone and their mothers. So you can now decide, which one is best for you. Which one makes
Works
you the
better for
most,
you.
puts the most money in your pocket.
How quickly
the
you need to
quickest.
close.
So hopefully you choose the realtor side, 'cause that's
What we do, obviously.
what we do. A little biased, but yes. Sometimes wholesalers make things look easy.
Right up until
Sellers ghost you. Your buyer backs out, or an attorney rips apart your assignment. So take your pick. Hopefully it's on the realtor side.
Choose your battles.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching.
Stay tuned for the next one.
Give us some comments and let us know what you think. Also, let us know what other types of topics you want to hear about. We want to hear from you. So we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.